here today at the Alberta Aviation Museum in Edmonton to check out the Black Business Forum because there's a company here that I think is going to change the landscape of logistics and potentially emergency logistics for small, remote, even Indigenous communities. So let's go check it out. As you can hear in the intro, it was really loud at the forum, so I didn't record anything live with Chijoki at the event, but I'll get into my conversation with him after a bit of a intro on Logix Canada, because if you've ever struggled with coordinating shipments, tracking deliveries in real time, or just trying to find reliable carriers, you're not alone. And today, we're looking at how this technology could be a lifeline for some of the most underserved areas in the country. So stick around as we break down what Logix does, why it matters, and specifically how it could transform emergency logistics for small and rural Indigenous communities. Welcome to the Hazardscape podcast, where we discuss Indigenous emergency management as our small contribution to enhancing Indigenous community public safety in our efforts to reconcile the relationship between the Crown and all nations. What is Logix Canada? At its core, it's an all-in-one logistics platform designed to connect shippers with vetted carriers. Think of it like a matchmaking service for transportation, but with a whole suite of tools thrown in to make the process smoother, faster, and more transparent. Whether you're a small business needing to ship a few pallets or a large enterprise managing complex supply chains, Logix is looking to simplify that chaos. Their platform handles everything from transportation and warehousing to inventory management and demand supply matching. They also integrate real-time GPS tracking, live status updates, and even an earnings dashboard for carriers. That means both sides of the transaction, shippers and drivers, get visibility and control like they wouldn't typically through other shipping services. And I want to zoom in on a critical application. The reason I got involved with Logix Canada and the reason I went to see Chijoki, because this goes beyond sort of this standard commerce. I'm looking at this from the lens of emergency logistics for rural and Indigenous communities, because Canada is huge and so many remote Indigenous communities face unique challenges. Roads can be seasonal, weather can cut off access for weeks, and traditional supply chains often struggle to reach those areas quickly. Even when a medical emergency strikes or when a community faces a crisis like a flood or fire, the difference between life and death can come down to how fast supplies arrive. And I think this is where Logix has massive potential because the platform connects directly with local and regional carriers. It can bypass the bottlenecks of national freight networks to instantly broadcast a need. For example, insulin. Right? Maybe pre and postnatal products and supplies for mom and baby, even heavy machinery, and have nearby vetted drivers respond in real time from larger centers where those supplies can typically be in abundance. The real-time GPS tracking becomes a safety net. Families and health workers wouldn't just be waiting in the dark. They could watch the shipment move across the map, knowing exactly when help is arriving. And the demand supply matching algorithms could be tuned to prioritize urgent, non-commercial loads during crisis, ensuring that essential goods get moved before commercial cargo. So for communities that have historically been left behind by slow bureaucratic processes, a decentralized system like this, a tech-driven approach could mean a faster, more responsive emergency system. And I want to focus in on the real-time tracking again. In a remote area where cell service might be spotty, the ability to see a shipment's location via GPS updates is invaluable. It builds trust and it can reduce panic. Then there's the carrier earnings dashboard. So if you're a driver in rural areas, this isn't just about money, it's about opportunity. It allows local truckers to pick up emergency runs that might otherwise go unnoticed, sort of creating like a local network of responders who are incentivized and equipped to help. And looking ahead to 2026, Logix is rolling out automation tools and performance enhancements. So imagine an AI that is automatically reroutes shipments around road closures caused by ice storms or wildfires. That could instantly notify the community of any new estimated times of arrivals. That's the kind of resilience that we're talking about here. Who's currently using Logix? Well, it's attracting small businesses, e-commerce brands, large enterprises, but the pilot programs and community interest suggest a growing footprint in the public sector and for not-for-profits. So for me, the real test is going to be during the emergencies, not just how this is going to cut down delivery times for everyday commerce, but if Logix can successfully deploy in a disaster situation for a remote community, it could become a blueprint for a national emergency logistics service across the north. And looking at the even bigger picture, Logix is part of a larger movement to digitize and democratize logistics. So as climate change makes extreme weather more frequent, and as the need for rapid response grows, relying solely on traditional centralized supply chains isn't going to be enough. We need agile, we need local networks. So Logix offers a way to bridge the gap between urban centers and remote communities, turning isolated towns into connected nodes in a responsive network. Just about moving boxes, for me at least, it's about moving emergency management strategy through logistics, medicine, safety to where they're needed most.